we have a debate. Is marriage good or bad for men today? And this debate's going to be between me and Jake from Project V.O Pod. Salute to Project V.O Pod. Salute to Jake. Is marriage good or bad for men today? And we're going to start off with it's a five minutes introduction, 5 minutes opening statements. Then we've got 10 minutes of cross examination, and then after that, 1 hour of open conversation. So Hassan is going to be refereeing this debate. So yes, Hassan, go ahead. I'm ready when you guys are.
Okay, awesome. So I just like to say thank you, Octavio, for hosting the debate here on your channel. I'm gonna go into this because I do respect the Solution Podcast. This is gonna be a good civil debate on basically marriage, right? Is marriage good for men in today's society? And so I want to start off my opening statement saying, look, for the audience here watching, I am not against the institution of marriage. Absolutely not. I'm not against the church or religion of any of that sake or nature. What I am against, though, of how the laws affect men drastically different than they affect women. Okay. So I am 100% for reforming divorce laws in 2024 or in modern day society. Some might say feminist society, right? It's become more and more femme-centric as time goes on. So I am for reforming the divorce laws. I'm for, when it comes to the red pill argument that we tend to bring up a lot here, is I'm for men knowing the facts of marriage, knowing statistics, knowing what they're getting themselves into when they do get married, and in this rapidly growing femme-centric society. So you got to know what they're getting into. I know Octavio is absolutely okay, according to what I understand, is okay with the current laws that are in play in the Western world today. But anyways, yeah, with that being said, if you look at a lot of the femme-centric laws that we have today, for example, no-fault divorce is a big one, where women these days initiate 80% of the divorces, and they don't even need a reason to get divorced from their man. They could just say, because I feel like being divorced, therefore I will put you in a situation where you have to deal with the law, right? And that's not including, for example, if you have children. If you have children, even though you didn't have them out of wedlock, you do have to pay. I believe it's 90% of child support is deemed to the man, right? That's not also including alimony. Alimony also 90% to the man. 98% of women are granted alimony when that is custom, right? When they do that. So a lot of these laws tend to be very, what's the word? Disproportionately against the man, right? And we've had these maybe perhaps back in the 1950s, or actually long before a lot of these laws even became into play. Men did always were the leaders. It was before this femme-centric reality that we currently live in, right? So there's a lot of problems with our laws. I would also like to say quick solutions to a lot of this, okay? It's path one is turning back the clock all the way to the 1950s, to the point where we take women out of the workforce, we can close our borders, we hire up the wages of companies in order for men to start leading. Because as you know, women nowadays are leading the way in bread making these days in about 16 to 20 of the mainstream cities, at least here in the United States. So there are already projections that women will be out earning men in due time, which will also affect the marriage. But path two is also just adjusting to said reality. Okay, so adjusting, let's adjust our laws, reform our laws to best equal out feminism. If these days women want to be treated equal, I say let's treat the bitches equal by actually putting laws in that won't disproportionately destroy men, but will actually give women some accountability. And I guarantee it, if we put it that way, because I don't think feminist is going anytime soon. I believe if we go that direction, a lot of these ladies will easily want to turn back the clock and won't want to be treated equal. They'll want to be treated like the lady that they want to be biologically. And so, yeah, let's bring back gender roles the way God intended. With that being said, I will close out my opening statement and I'll leave the floor to you, Octavio.
Thank you very much. Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2. Go ahead.
Okay, guys. Marriage. Listen, marriage is not only good for men, marriage is good for women, children, community, society, and nation. Marriage is literally the bedrock of any society. To give you guys a real chilling sense of how important marriage is, let me put it this way. Without marriage, societies and countries will collapse and self-destruct. That's how serious marriage is. All right. Why is marriage good for men? Marriage is good for men because marriage is the institution that allows men to fulfill their biological role to procreate, protect, and provide. Okay. And when I say procreate, protect, and provide, I mean more productively. All right. And this is backed by studies, by the way. We know that this is true because since marriages have been steadily declining in the West since 1970, statistically speaking, we've seen the birth rate decline, okay, below the replacement rate. We've seen abortions increase. We've seen the single baby mother epidemic culture increase. We've seen society become more immoral, more degenerate, and more decadent. All right. This is all because marriages are declining. Marriage is important to women. We can all see what has happened to women ever since marriages have declined. Most Western women are reducing themselves to nothing more than sexual entertainment for morally degenerate men in exchange for money and attention. By 2030, 45% of women are predicted to be childless and single. Women are abandoning their natural biological roles, which can only be protected in a union like marriage, for fast money and dopamine. Marriage is important to children. We know this because it's a statistical fact that children who come from married parents do better in life. Children who come from married parents have more resources, have more stability, are more emotionally and physically healthier, more likely to succeed academically, less likely to be sexually or physically abused. The list goes on and on and on. And guess who's more likely to be sexually and physically abused? Who's more likely to be less physically healthier, and who is more likely, um, who is less likely to succeed academically? Guess who? Kids that come from where? Single parent homes, broken homes. All right. Marriage is important to men. Contrary to red pill propaganda, statistically speaking, men who are married are more likely to be healthier, earn more money, have more sex, be more responsible, and have more of a purpose in life. Leave it there. I think I've said enough. All I'm doing really and truly is just highlighting the importance of marriage on this introduction. And I hope you guys understand the severity of what would happen if marriage was to completely disappear. And I do believe that, oh, hold on. Are we, is the 5 minutes up?
Yeah, I stopped the clock, but you had like 1 minute, 20 seconds. I think you said you
Oh,
wanted
I
to
see.
stop it.
Yeah. Just highlighting how important marriage is, basically. I mean, how important marriage is. And if marriage was to, it continues to decline, society will continue to self-destruct. That is my overall point. Yeah, let's go. Jake, the floor is yours. We're going to be doing cross-examination. JM is in the chat. Yes, bro. What's going on? He says, yes, people looking forward to the debate. It's going great so far. Yeah.
I just want to share another. I just want to share another screen. If you want to, Octavio,
Yep.
there you go.
There you go. Jake, go ahead.
Yeah, just a reminder in the chat, Jake. If you just look at the message I've sent, if you can see it there in the private chat, I'm not too sure. Whenever you're ready. We can start.
Yeah. Whenever we're ready. Here, this is cross examination. Okay, cool. So I'm going first.
Yeah.
All right.
Octavio,
Okay,
yeah,
awesome.
Octavio, Jake will be asking questions. Octavio will be answering. And
No,
we'll go
it's
from
okay. And regarding the private chat, it's okay, Jake. Be you. Do you,
there.
bro.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Go
All right,
ahead.
fair enough. But yeah, so everything Octavio just explained right now, the institution of marriage, I already explained that I'm not against the institution of marriage. I'm against the laws that go against a lot of the disadvantages the men in today's society have. So, for example, Octavio is totally mentioning so much of why marriage is important. I completely agree with that. We do need marriage. And one of the main problems that I have is the laws that basically give women a go-to to divorce their spouses. So, for example, back in the day, it was a lot more difficult to get married. I'm sorry, to get divorced. You had to actually prove on why you were going to get divorced. You had to actually have a reason. Now, with the fact of no-fault divorce, which was originated by Ronald Reagan, I believe in 1970, it fucked up a lot of things. It fucked up a lot of things because now a woman could easily just get divorced for the sheer fact that she just feels like being divorced. She is based off her feelings. So my question to you, Octavio, is in today's society, when women have the okay of just getting divorced and not actually being able to prove or make an argument on why they should get divorced, don't you think that this, especially with women initiating 80% of the divorces, don't you see how detrimental that could be to men getting married in today's society?
No,
So I'm allowed to ask
because
questions, right, Hassan? This is
yeah,
cross.
cross examination.
Oh
You
yeah,
hold.
Okay.
yeah. Ask him, probe him. You're the lawyer. He's the subject.
Gotcha. Go on, Octavio. Just ask the question.
No, because marriage has nothing to do with divorce. Divorce is to do with when marriage breaks down. That's what divorce is about. It's nothing to do with marriage. So to me, we have to concentrate on the importance of marriage, not the importance of divorce. Divorce has nothing to do with marriage.
Okay, divorce has nothing to do with marriage, even though, of course, and I knew you were going to do this. You like to change definitions around. So my question is, look, divorce is needed. You have to have a divorce in order to, like, you need marriage in order for divorce to even exist in the first place. That's what a divorce is. You guys get married, and regardless of your issues, you have to fight through it. I'm saying with the laws that Ronald Reagan passed in 1970, and till this day, it's already actually fully embraced in all 50 states of the United States of America, at least. There's a woman could easily just say, I just don't feel like being divorced. And she can get the divorce and fuck over this man, especially if they have children together. If you know, child support's a big one as well. That's rewarded to women 90% of the time. If you do the math of how much money that's going to cost the man just purely on child support, that doesn't actually add up to other finances he gives to the child, it's going to add up to around $100,000 in an 18-year span just on child support. Now, is the woman going to pay $100,000 purely on the child? Probably not. She's probably going to use a lot of that money on her nails and her pedicures. So again, if you look at the laws and how they disproportionately destroy men, and even if you look at children, for example, men raise single fathers actually raise children better than single moms. So my question to you is, would you be willing to reform laws when it comes to custody battles between males and females in divorces?
No, because the reason why is because the laws are based on gender roles. The laws are based on the idea that a woman stays at home and takes care of the children. So she gives up her right, according to feminism, to pursue a career. And she becomes homebound, taking care of the children while the man goes out there. So it's based on gender roles tradition, which basically means that if a divorce was to happen, again, listen, this is speculation about divorce. Me, I'm more interested in marriage because we have successful marriages and we have marriages that don't that go into divorce. All right. So yes, the laws reflect what's actually happening, what actually happens in gender roles. So the woman needs a house to live. Where is she gonna, if she's taking care of the children, how is she going to take care of the children while at the same time um work? So you would have to ask a question. The real question is how much money are men willing to pay to a woman that they to a woman that they've divorced.
Okay, how much money are men willing to pay a woman to which they divorced? So again, I
Yeah.
already explained 80% of initiation of divorce is done by women. So really, 80% of those men didn't even choose to be divorced. We have several examples. For example, Steven Crowder is one that did everything that was basically off of the religious aspect of things. He didn't want to get divorced, but she did. And of course, she didn't even need a reason to divorce Steven Crowder, other than he was emotionally abusive, and that's fucking garbage, especially with what proof she had on that. So let me ask you again this. Divorce rate is 50%. It's basically a toss of the coin. The question is it good for men to marry in 2024? Again, I'm not against the institution of marriage. I think if you are going to get married, you need to know these precautions and how to mitigate marriage. And there's plenty of statistics on how you could do that. For example, religion could help as well. What's the percentage on that? Well, I mean, I can go about that as well, but that's your argument. But I'll tell you this, Octavio. My next question is, knowing that it's basically a coin toss, 35% divorce rate in 2019, it's already rised up to about 50%. So again, a woman is the one that initiates that. My question to you is, in 2024, with men, men are the ones that get divorced, and they're getting swept out by a lot of these feminine women that they marry. Is it a good idea for these men to go in to a marriage that the woman is literally encouraged to break the contract and rewarded for her leaving the marriage? Why is that a good thing?
It's a good thing because it's a good thing because the institution of marriage is paramount to continuing society and civilization. It's a good the problem is not on whether men should go in, whether it's a problem for men to go into marriage. The problem is what kind of women are men choosing, because we've got examples of successful marriages and we've got examples of bad marriages. So we've got examples of divorces and we've got examples of fake. So what it comes down to is what kind of women are these men choosing? Because you will agree that the type of women that you choose will either increase or decrease the likelihood of divorce. So if men are not happy with the laws, if they're not happy with the idea of taking care of a woman that they've chosen that has divorced them, if they're not happy with that, then they need to say what, because to me that's abandoning your gender roles. You chose that woman, you married that woman, and now you want to abandon your role as a man, which is to take care of that woman, because the laws reflect traditional roles. And then I know we don't live in a traditional society. I know that it's a feminist society. Women are allowed to work and so on and so forth. So men feel that it's unfair. Okay, it's unfair. But the truth it is, biologically, we are supposed to take care of a woman, and you did choose that woman. So men need to decide how much money do they want to pay for a woman to stay at home, take care of the children, and so on. So yeah, that's my answer to that.
Yeah. So again, men aren't choosing to get divorced as much as women do. Okay. In today's society, it's actually cheaper to keep her, as I would like to say. Okay. Because if a man chooses to divorce a woman, he's more likely to lose way more than the woman does as an overall picture. So again, women are the ones that are divorcing. Women are the ones that are choosing to leave the relationship. Men aren't. So men aren't abandoning their gender roles, but women are. So it seems like you're blaming men for this situation of them not being able to control the divorce. And you haven't answered directly on why that is. But again, I mean, kind of rolled around and just saying, well, you got to protect them in marriage. And they're doing that. But at the end of the day, they can do that all they want. Their asses are still getting divorced. And we'll end that right there.
And just to answer Jake quickly on that point, I'm not sure. Was that a question, Jake? Do you want me to comment on that?
I didn't ask a question. No, I was just making a statement on your answer.
Yeah, no worries. Yep, no worries.
Okay.
Yeah, when you're ready, I will start.
Go ahead.
Jake, do you agree that marriage is good?
Marriage is, men are better. Men and women are better off together than they are separate. Yes.
So no, that wasn't my question. Do you agree that the marriage is
good? Yes. The institution of marriage is good. Yes.
Right. Do you agree that the institution of marriage is good for men, women, children, and society?
Correct. Yes.
Do you agree that the problem then cannot be marriage by the type of women that men choose?
Do I believe that the problem of marriage is based off of the women that men choose?
Let me repeat the question. Do you agree, since the institution of marriage is good, not just for men, women, and children, for society and for the survival of society, do you agree that do you agree that what was my question again? She got me all messed up.
If marriage is good for the individual, for society, then it's really the issue of choice, not the marriage.
Yeah. So I can't believe I got it all mixed up. Yeah. So do you agree that the problem is do you agree that the problem then cannot be marriage, but the type of women that men choose? If marriage is good, sorry, if the institution of marriage is good, if the if it's good for men, women, and children,
I agree with all that.
Society as a whole. So do you agree that the problem cannot be marriage, but the type of women that men choose?
The options that men are given is basically women that have extremely really hypergamous natures these days, thanks to social media and today's society. So at the end of the day, I'm not going to blame men for the ones that they choose to marry, because like I said, men are the gatekeepers of marriage. Sure. And that's why I say men need to be more of a leadership position and in order to mitigate as much risk as possible. And you can do that with several ways. But I think men are not equipped with the knowledge in order to navigate that properly.
Okay. Do you agree that we have examples of marriages in modern times today, Jake, that show that there are marriages that are working and have worked?
In modern day time, yeah, I know anecdotal evidence of people that have good marriages and they're above the average rate of marriages. Sure.
Yes. So sure. You do agree? You actually mentioned that the divorce rate is 50%.
Yeah.
Thereabouts. Yeah. Okay. I think it will be increasing. That's my prediction anyway. But so you do agree. So you do agree that and I'm going to bring it back to the question that I asked you before this. So you do agree that we have examples of successful marriages as well as examples of divorces, right?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. So then how can you not see that the problem has to do with the type of women that men are choosing these days, rather than with the marriage institution itself or the laws that you believe to be unfair, even though we don't know exactly what's really unfair about that, because men are not necessarily today given a specific number that they are willing to pay in order to take care of a woman after they've divorced them with children. So do you see that the problem comes down to the type of women that men are choosing?
Well, here's the thing. If you want to just shoot it all down to just a choice, and this is why, when simultaneously we see that men nowadays are choosing not to get married, like more and more these days, because they're not choosing these women anymore. Actually, the marriage rate is going down because of that. their options are a bunch of fucking feminist women or women that are hoes. And a lot of men are just opting not to even get married in the first place. But the ones that do choose to do that, the divorce rate still stands at 50%. I mean, it doesn't really matter. And at the end of the day, it's basically a flip of the coin. So whatever woman that you do choose, you might think that she's good and that she's Christian, just like Steven Crowder believed it. But at the end of the day, I mean, you want to blame it all on the choice of men, but the options are just feminism everywhere. So let me ask you, if you're not willing to acknowledge the
this
fact,
is me. This is Jake. This is
oh yeah,
me.
you're right.
Yeah,
So I'll
yeah,
just
it's
tell you
fine.
this.
You.
So I'll just tell you this. So Octavio, you're not willing to acknowledge that fact, and so I just say, in today's day and age, we need reformed in laws. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Okay. If when it comes to choosing a woman, Jake, men are I think, given the kind of society that we have today, how promiscuous it is, men have to be more than ever careful about the kind of women that they choose when it comes to marriage. Do you believe
Sure.
that men are becoming this serious? Do you believe that the men of today, the modern men of today, are truly and honestly vetting women properly for marriage? Do you believe that?
No, I don't even think the men of today even know what vetting is. To answer your question, they don't even know what that is. This is why we need people having these conversations. And I know you don't like the red pill ideology or whatever you want to call it, but it talks a lot about vetting women and how to
So
spot
do you
bad women.
agree? So do you agree, Jake, that the problem is inherently a moral issue rather than an issue of laws?
No, I don't agree with that.
Okay, and I'll just do a recap on what you've just conceded. You agree that marriage is good. You agree that marriage is good for men, women, and children in society. You've agreed that we have examples in modern times of marriages working. Okay, you yourself,
Correct.
you've got anecdotal evidence
Sure.
of that. Divorce rate is only 50%. All right, it is 50%. But you're
Only,
right.
yeah,
Men are not marrying women these days, and there's a bunch of reasons for that. Do you agreed that the problem? So I asked you whether the problem is it marriage or the type of women that men choose. If you agree that it's not marriage because marriage is a good institution, so it has to be the type of woman. It has to be the type of a woman that men are choosing because, and if it's the type of women that men are choosing, then the problem is inherently a moral issue rather than the laws.
Yeah,
right?
no, that's one component. No, that's one component. You're focusing to answer your question. No, you're focusing on one component of many issues. I'm saying that there's a component of laws, and I already explained I don't have a problem with the institution of marriage. I have the problem of how it's run in today's society that is being more and more feminized. So therefore, we need to catch up with our equal. Then we adjust our laws in order to combat that.
So so how do you explain those couples whose marriage is working? The laws are still applicable. The laws are still there. They haven't changed, Jake. So how is it that we have examples of people? I mean, 50% of them are married. How is it that we've got examples of people whose marriage is working and have worked in the past? So how can you say that the problem is not a moral one? What did those guys do right that these guys that divorced didn't do right? It couldn't.
Yeah.
It can't.
So you're. Yeah. So you're basically assuming that the 50% that are married are like Christians like you. No, I actually know atheists that have been married for over 10 years.
Hold on, Jake. I never made that assumption. I never said any of that.
I'm gonna explain to you. I'm gonna explain to you on that because you're talking about the religious institution. What are they doing right?
No, I'm not.
That was
No,
your
I'm
question.
not. There are atheists that are married today There are atheists that are
Yeah.
married today, Jake, and their marriage is working absolutely fine.
I know.
And there are atheists that we can point to in the past whose marriage are working just fine. And they didn't get married in the church. They didn't get married. So we've got examples of that. So what is it that they've done right that the other 50% of divorce is not doing right if it's not inherently a moral issue?
Let him ask. Go
Okay,
ahead,
so I
Jake.
got 30. I got 30 seconds. So yeah, it's not inherent. Like again, morals is just one component of that. Again, if you have atheists that are fucking lasting longer than Christian couples, obviously it's not an immoral. Moral is just one component of things. If you want to focus on that, yes, you have people that aren't necessarily God-fearing individuals and have outlasted their marriage as well. What are they doing right? At the end of the day, it could be multitudes of things we got to look at, right? But we can only base it off of the statistics that we have right now in order to better correlate that.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Fantastic.
All right, awesome.
Looking beautiful.
So, yeah. But yeah, to answer your question, what are these couples doing correctly that the ones that are divorced aren't, right? There's a multitude of things. A lot of these men nowadays, or many of them, get married very quickly, right? A lot of, and remember, you have to remember who controls relationships, right? It's the man. So more than likely, men are the ones that are pressured to get married quickly. In fact, statistics show that women are actually 119% more likely than men to say that they would end a relationship after 2 years if marriage is not on the horizon. So take that into consideration. Women right now, which already end 80% of the divorces and the relationships, are willing to end a 2-year relationship if marriage is not on the table. So as you could see, there's a lot of men out there that don't necessarily probably haven't vented long enough on these women and are being pressured to get married. So usually they will do that. And it could lead to a lot of problems if they don't have financial issues. Remember, financially, the average income at least in the United States of an individual is around $45,000 a month. I mean, a year. And so if you take that into consideration, a lot of people don't have the luxury of having a big financial income before their marriage. And remember, they're marrying young. Some people might decide that they're marrying somebody because of lust reasons. I mean, there's a big reasons for why people tend to marry quickly, especially the pressure of women, and that usually ends in divorces as well. So it could be that maybe the half that's 50% that are doing well are actually taking their time when it comes to a lot of these marriages. It could be that, and it could be a multitude of things. There's so many components that you could talk about on that. So it's a very broad question that you're asking.
The average I've just checked. The average age of a man getting married in the Western world today is 30 to
32.
32.
Yeah,
32.
32.
I wouldn't call that. I wouldn't call that young. Back in the days, if we're going to compare it to the 1950s, 1940s, men used to get married in their 20s. Women used to get married when they were 18, and so on. The average rate for men and women has increased. Most women, because of pursuing careers,
I misspoke. My bad.
They are delaying marriage until until they until they almost reach high risk pregnancy, until 90% of the eggs are gone. Yes, go ahead.
After 30. And you're right on that. No, I misspoke. I'm sorry. What I meant to say is that men are marrying women in short-term relationships. That's what I meant. That's why I brought up this statistic right here. That usually men will date a woman for a couple years, a year, 2 years, etc., and they're being pressured. And it could be also because they're young. That's one component there. But you're right. The average is 32 for men. But there are other components of that. Again, women pressuring, especially after 2 years, for marriage. So men are jumping into these marriages without having zero knowledge of the consequences of that. I think that's why we have plenty of the reasons why a lot of these men are being.
Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? And whose fault is that? Is that men's fault or women's fault? Because they've reached their biological clock. Women understand that their biological clock is running out at 30. So yeah, I can understand why they put. I can understand why they put that pressure on men. But whose fault is it for conceding?
It's both parties, because here's the thing: women don't understand that their eggs are being destroyed at the age of 30. A lot of women don't even know the statistics that by the time they're 30 years old, 90% of their fucking eggs are gone. They don't even know that. Two, they want to do the hot girl summer in their 20s. They're out there partying. They're getting drunk. They're having sex with multiple partners. They're enjoying life. They're figuring themselves out. And by the time they get to 30, some of them, actually a good portion of them, are already single mothers by the time they hit 30. By the time they hit the wall, they already have a kid or two. And then they're expecting Mr. Superman, Mr. Prince Charming to come by and save them, when in reality it doesn't work that way. So to answer your question, no, it's both parties, but feminism has told women that's the way to go about. That's the difference here that you don't want to bring up. Now,
who controls
men are the what?
Who controls access to relationships?
The men.
The men. So why are men
who controls
giving
sex? Who controls access to sex?
Okay, why are men giving used up women who can't give them babies, who can't give them multiple babies, who have entered the stage of high risk pregnancy or just before high risk pregnancy, when 90% of the eggs are gone after 30? Why are men giving these women relationships? I mean, to me, the way I look at it is, you'd have to be demented to do that. You'd have to be someone who is not thinking straight. Either you don't know biology, you don't know morality, you don't know right and wrong, and that's the reason why you're choosing. But the fact is, men give relationships away, Jake. If men give relationships, if they give relationship, this means they're giving relationship to these type of women. So that means men are at fault.
Yeah. So you're asking, why are these dudes marrying these old sluts, right? And it's very simple. It's very simple. It's because of a lack of option, Octavio. Yeah, men these days don't know how to run around women. So therefore, they're thinking, okay, again, these beta males are saying, hey, I can get access to sex. I have a woman that already has kids. She's experienced. She's least likely to leave me because there's kids there, subconsciously, of course. And they're more willing to date these types of chicks because it's a safer bet than dating a girl that's in her little hot girl summer phase, right? In her early 20s. Okay. So there's a big difference there, Octavio, if you want to go about of why these relationships aren't working. And yeah, I mean, again, this is why men are putting rings on these women's fingers, is simply because.
Okay, you made the argument that apparently is
lack of options. Lack of options.
Yeah.
There's
a lack of options. And this is the reason why men are dating older women who have gone through hot girl summer phase, who are in their 30s and so on. Is it really, Jake, or is it because these men are engaged in the sex industry? They are engaging with promiscuous women from a very early age.
You're talking about, wait, what do you mean the sex industry? You're saying that these guys are going into pornography? What are you talking about?
No. The sex industry has many facets to it. One of them, for example, the promiscuous culture that we have is pretty much what I would call a sex industry. Just my way of saying it.
No, but, be more specific there. Like, men aren't involved in the actual sex industry. They might be looking at porn. They might be, some might be paying for OnlyFans. So let's be specific there.
All right. Okay. Is it because men are engaged in hookup culture from a very early age? Is that the reason why these men are actually out here chasing after these women? Because let's not forget, the sex industry is in the billions, and it's mostly men paying for it. Is it because men are engaging with the hookup culture that they are settling for these women rather than choosing the right woman?
No, not at all. Vast majority of men aren't engaging in a whole bunch of sex with women, Octavio. But so just answer the question really quick.
Jake, hookup culture, not sex. I never said men are men want to. I call them incels.
You mean like they're going out to clubs and they're just partying and not getting laid?
No, I'm talking about from Jake. I am part of this culture as well. I do know what's actually going on, and most men today, they are not thinking about church and Bible when they are 17, 16. They are trying to get laid. okay, as
Mhm.
quickly as possible, and they
Sure.
are they're watching corn.
Mhm.
That's what they are usually doing. And when you look, and they even being taught to
Mhm.
masturbate in schools. So is it
Yeah.
because men from a very young age are engaging with the hookup culture? That could that be the real reason?
That could be a component of it. Yeah, 100%. I would agree that because we live in a very much more sexualized society, that a lot of these men and women are engaging in a what you call a hookup culture or glorified hookup culture. For example, your Cardi B's, your mainstream media, like your Cardi B's and your rap music, all of that glorifies that stuff, glorifies it completely. So yeah, I could see that it's definitely a component of how the mentality of how people go about with marriages, because even statistical wise, I believe it's about 40% of young people nowadays are saying that marriage is outdated, that they're not
Yes,
interested in it.
it's not lack of options.
No. That study had to do with like young Gen Zers. The lack of options talks about men that are in their 30s. Those are
No, 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 no,
two
no.
different
What
things
I'm
there.
saying is men
So
give out relationships, Jake. If
yes,
you
I know that, Octavio.
if you're engaged in the
But
hookup
it is
culture,
lack of options. It is lack of options. Don't try to correlate
hold
those
hold
two
on, hold on,
stats.
hold on. If men if men give relationships out, okay, and they are engaged in hookup culture from a very early age, it makes sense why they would feel okay giving relationships to used up women. For example, Jake, I did not do that. How
Mhm.
come? What was the difference between me and them? Is I took the religious route. Okay, I changed my morals. All right, but the thing is, this I'm just asking, Jake. Do you
Mhm.
think it could be because these men are engaged in hookup culture that they don't see that much of a problem with a woman having 10 body counts, 15 body counts? In fact, I've seen it. I've seen that today
No, they
men.
still have a problem.
Hold on, let me finish. Today, men are more likely to accept a woman
Mhm.
that has 10 body counts or 5 body counts, and they consider that to
Mhm.
be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because
You
again, lack of
you see this
options. It
because
goes
of the
back to
hookup
lack of
culture.
options. So again, lack of options. Again, if you look at statistical wise, women are losing their virginity around 14 years old. Okay. So you're not going to get a virgin, and most men have accepted that already. Okay. So it has nothing to do with it's one component of marriage, but the biggest component of why men nowadays are not getting married isn't because they're thinking, oh, I need a virgin and there's not enough virgins, therefore I'm not going to get married. They're thinking because of the divorce laws that currently and the feminism that's currently going on. So no, men aren't biologically, or no man is okay with dating or marrying a woman that has a high body count. That's not the case, or even body count in general. It's because there's lacks of option. There's no choice of options with a lot of these ladies. So men do have to accept reality of what it is. And I get it, Octavio. You can scream all you want on what it should be, and that's fine. I think it should be that way too. But I'm talking about what it is today. All right. And what it is
You say
today
men are looking
is
for
that
virgins.
what?
Jake, are men looking for virgins?
No, they've accepted the fact that you're not going to find a virgin.
No, 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 no.
Men are looking for women. What?
I'm asking, are men today, all right?
Looking for
Men,
virgins?
no, no, no. The type of men that we have today, the type of men that fund the sex industry, the type of men that pay OnlyFans, are
Mm-hmm.
these men
Mm-hmm.
seriously? Because I don't believe in the argument that there is not enough good women out here. I believe in the argument that these men are sexualized from a very early age. They engage in the hookup culture from a very early age. This has an influence on how they view women, on how they accept women, and this is what's leading these men to accept women that are past their due date in terms of marriage and so on. So I do not believe that the fact that these men are engaged in the hookup culture is not having an influence on their choices. That is
Yeah, I
just
didn't say
simply
that.
not true.
I
Because
didn't say that.
men are not looking for virgins, Jake.
Yeah.
You've conceded to that.
Yeah, exactly. And no, I didn't concede to that. I'm telling you, that's one component. You're wanting to focus on just one component of the debate, which is morals, right? That's fair
No, no.
enough,
What's the
Octavio,
other
because that's your
component?
only argument that you can give. I'm
What's the
actually
other component?
there's multiple components. Okay, so for
Okay.
example, I can give you multiple components on why young men are choosing not to get married, and the ones that do, we have a high divorce rate. Okay, and I'm telling you, the question is marriage good or bad for men today in 2024? I'm saying marriage here in 2024, the way feminism and the hookup culture is and how inflammatory it is, no, it's not good in today's society because it's gotten so hyperactive. I can agree with you on that. Let's move on to the next part of how laws do not adjust to said society. They're still adjusted to give women the advantage when it comes to divorces. And again, Octavio, I've given you the statistics on this. I can give you more if you want, okay? Even if you look at second marriages, even if you get divorced and you're saying, man, you know what? I've learned my lesson. I want to get married to this next girl. I want to do that. Divorce goes up even higher in second marriages, okay? 64% of men that get divorced will remarry. 52% of women that get divorced will remarry. But if you look at the second divorces, 67% of them will end. And if you get a third marriage, it's 73% will end, okay? So again, the statistics aren't on the side of individuals getting married. My solution to that is we need to change the laws, okay? In order to and this is laws in general when it comes to marriage and divorce laws, okay?
Hold on, Jake. You're making too many points. You're making too many points. Make your final point so I can.
My final point on changing laws. I'll give you one example, okay? We need to give more custody to men, not the women, when it comes to child custody. That's one example.
Men, okay, yeah, I can understand that they can be unfair when it comes to child custody. What that has, how does that stop men from getting married? Or it's child custody, yeah? That's the issue.
No, that's not the issue. That's I answered one component of that. There's a multitude of ones. I just mentioned one. Okay, there is no one solution fits all problem.
Octavio asked for one example, and you gave one.
And I gave him one example.
Yeah, okay. That's fine. Oh, that's fine.
You gave one example. All right.
Yeah.
So you're saying is if men start getting more custody of their children, what will end up happening is men will basically start getting married again. Is that true?
No. I was talking about child support within marriage. You said what's a big issue when it comes to today's society is single moms. Okay, single moms. One component to fix it is giving a fair trial to the man to get custody of his children. Okay. Why is that statistical wise? Men actually raise children better than single moms do.
Okay. So what is it that you're advocating for necessarily? Are you saying that we need to give the children to the men?
No, I'm saying give fair.
He said fair. He said
give fair
chance
for the man. Yeah, give fair man in court. Because dude, already in court, women are granted the fucking kids right off the fucking bat. There's no court when it comes down to it. Men don't even have a shot of getting full custody of their children. Okay, and the ones that do, women will pay child support, and they don't even pay the full aspect of child support.
Why would men, okay, get full custody if they are the ones who are supposed to support that very family that has broken down?
That's not his family. At that point, that woman isn't his family. He has to support the kid. And like I told you before, $100,000 in 18 years. You think that woman is spending that $100K on a kid and not herself fully? Come on, bro.
So what you're saying, Jake, is
what I'm saying is fair trials. Yes.
No, let me finish, Jake. Let me finish. What you're saying is that once a man gets divorced, okay, that is no longer his child. That is no longer. I can understand that is no longer his woman, but you're saying that is no longer his child, so he should no longer support that child.
Hassan, did I say that? Hassan, did I say? Please explain to Octavio.
Jake. He said the kids are still his family, but not the wife. The wife is no longer his family.
Okay, so how much since the mother has custody of the child and has to raise the child, because let's be honest, the man has to work. Okay, since that's the case, how much does the man have to give? Because this entire argument is this is what's going to get men to go back and marry women again. All right, even though we have loads of examples. All right. On the other side,
the argument is if marriage is bad in today's society. Not the argument is not. Is not that. I'm just saying that. I'm not arguing that.
No, I'm in the middle of it, and now I'm forgetting my point.
If he misrepresents your point, just ask me to step in. But he said custody. Yeah. I'll remind you of your point. Your point being the man has to work, women generally get custody because the man generally was providing for the family, even though they're separated. So it makes sense for the woman to have custody because she'll be the one who's been looking after kids for so long.
Yeah, exactly. So if she's taking care, if she's taking care of the child, okay, that means she has to she can't work full time. She can't. And even if she does work part time, someone has to take care of that child. So please give me a reasonable amount. All right, because she has a full custody. What would be, because you guys don't like answering this question. Please give me a reasonable amount of money that you consider to be acceptable to raising that child. I'm talking about pay for the home, because she has to be there full time taking care of that child. Pay for the home, pay for everything. All right. Okay. What's the reasonable amount?
You want me to give me you want me to give you a number of how much child support a man should pay?
Yes.
I think 100K for the 18 years is fine. I'm not arguing that. What I'm arguing is that women get 95% of the time get the kid. Okay. Women need to be damn near drug addicts in order to fuck it for the father to get the kid. And statistical wise, fathers raise kids more disciplined for society than women do. It's very easy.
Okay, Jake. According to biological roles, this is very, very easy, Jake. I want to see if you're gonna get. I want to see if you're gonna get this one. Yeah, men are supposed to provide and protect. These are the biological roles. All right, women are the nurturers.
Protect who? His wife, right? That's not his wife. She divorced his dad.
She was trying to go on about.
Octavio, Jake, let him finish.
Okay, men are the protectors and providers. All right. Okay. He gets into a divorce. Now he has to, if he takes full custody, he can't work full time, so he can't provide full time. He can't do that. All right. What is I'm honestly trying to understand, okay? What have you got against a woman having full custody of a child, knowing that the man is the one, if the man doesn't work, he can't provide for that child?
Yeah. So you're putting a scenario that again existed in the 1950s. Now we live in a world where women and men are equal. We got feminism again. Okay. So according to the laws, we should treat them equal. So therefore, by the law, if a man can go out there and work, okay, a woman should be able to go out there and work too. If you're going to choose to be a single parent, which women do that, therefore go into the workplace, fucking work your ass off and raise the kid on your own. You're the one that divorced the man. Therefore, you're the one taking the kid away. Then therefore you go out there and work. You live in a world of feminism. Then you lay in the bed that you created in. Okay. If you created that bed, you fucking lay in it. It's as simple as that, Octavio. If every man said, you know what, let's put these bitches accountable, I guarantee it, Octavio, these bitches were going to run back to us and say, please change the laws. I want to be treated like a woman now. No, I won't divorce every man anymore. No, I'm not going to go out there and have hot girl summertime anymore. No, I'm going to find a guy that's going to take care of me while I'm young because I know I'm going to regret it when I'm 30. It's very simple. We need to adjust the laws, okay, to what women want because women don't know what the fuck they want. And then when it fucking backfires into their fucking dumbass stupid face, they're going to come running back to men to fix it. It's as very simple as that.
Okay. Now
reform the laws. Let's reform the laws.
Okay. No, because I'm not really, the reason why I'm going on about this law thing is because I really want to get to the bottom of this. All right.
So you already did. I just told you.
Hold on a second. No, that was too vague. This is okay. This is how we're gonna reform the law, right? Okay, we're gonna hold women accountable according to Jake. Yes, we are, because
they men, not me.
They don't know what they're doing. Hold on. So they don't know what they're doing. So we should listen to them. Okay, great. We're gonna listen to them, and we are going to say a woman, men has sorry, he's got half of the custody, right? And the woman also. All right, so a woman has to work to take care of that baby as well. All right, so how would that work in real life? How would that pan out in real life? Let me think. So the man would what? He would work what, half of the week, and then the rest of the week, what, 3 days?
Octavio, in all fairness to Jake, he did repeat. He did make the point repeatedly that men often make better single parents than single mothers.
Yeah, I already told you
that's why he. Sorry, Jake. That's why he keeps going on that men should have more custody. That's his point.
Sorry, is that your point, Jake?
That is my point. I repeated that
Okay.
several times. Men raise children better than women do. Single parent men.
Everything has changed because now I've lost my train of thought. Since you're saying that is since things have changed now, because that's not what was being said before, and I was listening very carefully. Since now everything changed. Okay, so in that case, since men make and I agree with you, men are better at raising children because we're more. Okay, in that case, the woman should work and the men should stay at home. Because how would it work? Yeah, even though we know biologically our duty is to protect and provide, how would that necessarily work? Yeah, because I want to know, how would it necessarily work if we split custody down the middle? The men would have to work and then give the rest of the week. The rest of the week he would work half of the week, and then the rest of the week you'll have the child, and the woman will go to work. Is that how it would work? And if men make better. What do you call it? If men make better parents than women do, okay, then that means what you guys are advocating for is for men to stay at home, all right, and the women to go out and work, which, funny enough, is pretty much feminism.
No,
go ahead, Jake.
So okay. So there's a very loaded question, but let me unload the question for you. So again, when it comes to custody of the child. And I'm saying it needs to be down the middle. And you're saying, well, men need to go work. So does the woman. I already mentioned that. Okay. Because we don't live in the 1950s anymore. Like I said before, we live in a world where we're equal. So therefore we treat them equal. A man can go out there and work. And guess what? You're going to take care of the kid. Because you know what? You're better off to make sure that child doesn't end up as a fuck up the way his mother would. Statistical wise, that's just true. Okay, so we need to give more opportunity for men to get custody of their children. And I know plenty of men out there that want custody, full custody of the kid. Okay, a lot of men do. It's just that they don't have the opportunity to do that because the law is against them. So again, if you're looking to get married and a woman, again, with no fault divorce, you could just say, I'm just going to divorce you. She can put you in that compromised situation, Octavio. That's what I'm saying. So again, the argument is it good for men to marry in today's society? I think it's not, if you are unaware of the consequences and how to mitigate that as much as possible. Okay. This is why if you're going to marry in today's society, you need to mitigate it as much as possible in order to be successful in a marriage.
I don't agree with the idea of a man having full custody, because what we are literally advocating for is feminism, because a man's role is to protect and provide. I don't agree.
That's what he's doing. He's protecting the kid and providing for the kid.
Because what you guys basically are saying is a man should have full custody. So if the law states men having full custody,
it could be half custody, whatever they decide.
I need to finish.
Jake, let him finish.
Okay, all right.
I need to finish. So if there you go. See, I forgot again, Jake. Anyways,
you're advocating for full custody for men. It will not work because men, by the nature, provide.
I'm trying, because you guys keep going on about the law. So, and really and truly, what we just come down to, when we actually analyze it and see it for what it really is, what you guys are advocating for is full custody. Okay, that's basically it. But full custody means a man staying at home full time, which basically means a men not working, women working. That's what it really means. Okay, that's exactly. Now, you made a point about this is why you think men shouldn't get married. Okay, we just look at that law, and that law doesn't make any sense, because that actually goes against our biological roles, our gender roles, what what we are supposed to, what our duties are in life according to our biology. So but is that the reason why you think men should not get married? Because hold on a second, before you answer that, because we've got loads of examples of people, 50% of people that are married, they're not religious, they're not necessarily religious, and their marriages are working just fine. So how can that be the real reason? Because I think the law is a cop-out. I think the law is a cop-out, because we've got 50% of people who have made the right decisions, who have nothing against the law, who are literally in their marriages, and we already discussed how important marriage is. Okay, so to me, I think that's a cop-out. To be honest with you, that is not.
Sorry, Octavio. Just to clearly on, just clear out the stats. Jake said it's 34% now, and it's heading towards 50%. If I remember correctly.
Well, it was 35 in 2019. It's heading towards 50% now in 2024. Yeah.
Oh, so it's more than 50% of successful marriage.
It's around 50% now. Yeah, but in 2019 it was 35, so it's gone up drastically 15% in just a few amount of years. But there are ways to mitigate that. There are ways to mitigate that.
What is one doing right that the other one is not doing right?
Okay, so let me tell you what. No, I'll tell you.
It's not inherently moral. You said it's not inherently a moral issue. So I'm just wondering, what is one doing right that the other one is not doing right?
Okay, so I'm going to answer the question again. So again, I didn't say anything about moral. Moral is just one component of a big structure of things. So again, you're asking what's one side doing right? I don't know exactly what every single person is doing right, but I could answer the question when it comes to statistics. For example, a joint household that makes around $200,000 a year, the divorce rate actually goes down when it comes to income. So one way to mitigate that is for men to make more money. That's an option right there. If you're making $200,000 a year, or you know what, if you're making $150,000 and your girl's making $50K, or you're making 100 and she's making $20K, $30K, whatever it is, as long as you're making more money than her, because women want at least 53% more income than what they're making, right? That has to do with hypergamy. So one way to mitigate the risk is to make money. Although statistics also show is that if you make too much money on a joint household income, the divorce rate seems to go higher. So people that are that make about 500 to 600K a year joint income, the divorce rate tends to go back to normal. So that's one option, making around 200K. That's one situation right there. I'm just giving you options to mitigate. Another one, religion. I'm going to go off of you, Octavio. Being in a religious household also helps mitigating divorce. That's true. That's another component. I remember you want to say that's the main thing, but that's actually a component to mitigate divorce. Okay, is religion. All right, so that's another way is going to church, but you can't just be just be religious. I'm talking about praying together, going to church together, actually running the household in a religious fashion could also mitigate divorce as well. Mitigate it doesn't mean that it's gonna a foolproof plan, but it mitigates it. What's another one? Divorce rate. Also marriage of culture, same culture marriages. That's another one. Most people that marry within their race tend to mitigate divorce as well. So, for example, racial marriages tend to have a little bit more issues than marriages that marry within their culture. That's another thing too. So there's a lot of things that you could do. There's so many other options, but those are just a few components for you on how to go about choosing not only a good woman. Oh, another one, body count. Yeah, the less body count a woman has, the more likely that she won't divorce you. That's also another thing, because ignorance is bliss. If she's never had the 13-inch penis, she won't think about it when you're fucking her. I mean, it's just simple as that. So there's some components for you, Octavio.
Say that again.
Sorry, Jay.
The last bit that you said.
Okay.
Ignorance is bliss.
Oh, ignorance is bliss.
Okay, Octavio, if I could steel man your argument for a second. So what I've noticed is you've presented a number of the issues being the legal system, but the number of the solutions being the interpersonal dynamics. So a low body count, everything that pretty much goes against the hot girl summer, promiscuity being the solution to obtaining a successful marriage. So is it
are you
really
telling me,
the laws?
Hassan, or
I'm asking you, Jake. I'm asking you, Jake, because Octavio's point is that the laws aren't as much of an issue as you're making them out to be. When you present the issues, when you present the solutions all seem to be, or the majority seem to be.
No, those are based off statistics, though. Those are based off statistics. He asked me about how to mitigate it. How to mitigate it.
Yeah, how to mitigate. But it says it just seems like the people just change their behavior and their moral compass and focus on the low body count, being religious, having a commitment to providing for the family, so on and so on, being the solutions, when it isn't the law being the end all and be all for making successful marriage.
No,
I was gonna allude to that point. and the fact that you brought that up, the solution, so to speak. That's what you did, Jake. I was actually going to say, so Jake, you concede that
No,
marriage
I
is good
didn't.
for men. Hold
No,
on a
in
second.
today's
You
no,
concede, you
it's
concede that
good.
marriage.
Yes. No, marriage is
Hold on, hold
good,
on,
Octavio.
hold
I
on.
never conceded on that because I never said it was bad. I can't
Jake, can
concede
I
on
finish?
something that I
We'll,
didn't agree
we'll,
with.
we'll let him talk for a minute because you said, as you can see by the chat, you said quite a few things, which is fine, but we'll just let him respond.
So can
All
I?
right.
Thank you, guys.
Go ahead.
Thank you, appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Yay. All right, great. So you do concede that marriage. You have conceded that marriage is good for
Society, yeah.
society, right? You have conceded that, okay?
It's not
Which means
conceding.
that,
I never believed that to not be true in the first place.
okay, you're saying marriage is not good in 2024, and yet when you give
It's
the
not a good bet for
solution,
men.
yeah, yet when you give the solutions to making sure for productive marriage, it
Mhm.
all seems to be based on moral issues.
No, okay, so let me give you some laws. Take women out of the workplace. You want me to go there? Take women out of the workplace. That's
I mean,
another component.
I'm not against that.
Okay, well, that's one. Again, I'm giving you a few components. I can give you more. The way to mitigate it as well is to take 37% of the workforce out, which is women.
No. So you want men, even though you know how important marriage is for society, and we have 50% of people that are married, all right, and we know that what they're probably doing different from the other ones, okay, is the fact that you've mentioned a couple of them. Okay, they probably chose a woman with low body count. They're probably in religious households. They're probably you mentioned all those reasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how can you still say that marriage is not good for men in 2024 when what you really should be saying is, men, here's what you need to do in order, you need to get married, but here's what you need
Why
to
do
do.
they need to get married?
Sorry?
Why do they need to get married if that woman, it's a fucking coin flip? That's why I say it's at your own risk.
The reason why they need to get married,
The law will fuck you up if you actually take the risk. If you're making 200K a year and then you're a religious man and you're doing everything to mitigate said divorce, and then she divorces you anyways because it's a coin flip, you're gonna lose a lot, my friend. Just know the precautions of that. It doesn't. Again, this mitigates it. It doesn't take it away. That's where you guys are fucking up here. You're saying, "Oh, I'm conceding because this is the solution." No, it mitigates it. It's not a solution. It mitigates it. You want me to give you the real solution? I could do that.
I don't think anything is 100%, Jake. I really don't. I think we, all of us human beings, we try to mitigate risks in everything that we do, regardless what it is. We try to mitigate risk all the time. Nothing is ever 100%, and anyone who believes that something should be 100% is absolutely a fantasist. Is someone who lives in delusion, because there's nothing 100%. Even the guy that's covered all bases, he can still get a woman that will divorce him. Absolutely, I agree with you 150%, Jake. But given the importance of the marriage institution, Jake, how can you turn around and say men should not engage in that risk? Even though we've got 50% that are married and doing well, and they are not necessarily all religious. How can you turn around and advocate, knowing the importance of marriage? How can you advocate for men not to get married, knowing how destructive it is to society?
Oh yeah, can I answer that now?
Yes.
Okay, so how could I advocate for men not to get married in today's society? Again, I'm not against the institution of marriage. I don't know how many times I have to state this. Octavio wants to put me as the devil against marriage in order for him to make arguments, but it's not going to work. I'm not against marriage. Okay, I'm not against the institution. I'm against the laws that have taken away, have given women the options to allow women to keep their children away from their fathers. That's another thing. Okay, women have all the power when it comes to the divorce. When they get full custody, that means that they can decide if the man sees their kids or not. Okay, not only that, child support, draining of that, alimony, which is about 40% of the income, can go to a woman depending on how long that they were in a relationship or marriage. I mean, so if it's an average of 8-year marriage, that means the man would probably have to pay around 4 years of alimony. This is 40% of his income, depending if the woman changes her lifestyle after the divorce. It all depends on that. So again, if we live in a world where women are equal to men, therefore we need to adjust the laws in order to do that. Okay. It's very, very simple on that. The reason why I'm saying is, look, it's a bad bet today is because of the feminist movement we have today. And because of the feminist movement of how women are hyperactive on this boss bitch mentality. And you also look at 16 major cities, women are already out earning men. If we know that women are out earning men, therefore they're going to be more picky and more demanding when it comes to a man providing and protecting and all that other good stuff. Okay, they're more likely to leave and break off the marriages. We know that. I already gave you statistics. Women are more likely to end 2-year relationships if the man is not going to put a ring on their finger. So you know how picky women are these days. Okay, and because marriage benefits them and totally destroys the man.
Okay.
Octavio,
so how can you sit there and say, yes, men, go in there and you might actually destroy, you have a 50-50 chance of destroying your life. How can you sit there and tell men 100% go into it where I'm not? I'm just giving men the tools and letting them know that there's a risk. When you're saying go in there and destroy your life, 50-50 chance.
Octavio, Jake has made a good point repeatedly. The point being, you can see in the quote. I just want to make it clear, so I'm representing everybody fairly. His point that he's made repeatedly is, if women are equal outside of the court place, why aren't they equal inside of the court place?
No, that's not the point. That's not the point.
I want to bring it to light. Just
that he made more points than that.
Okay, that was one of them. That was one of my points.
Would you agree? That's the thing. When someone, I'm trying to keep track of all the points you're making. Would you agree that a woman that doesn't allow a man to see his child, a woman that indulges in hot girl summer, would you agree that a woman like that is not a good woman?
Is not a good woman?
Yes.
Like a good wife, you mean? I mean, I don't know her personal life, but she definitely isn't going to make a good wife.
Sorry, a good wife. There you go, Jake.
Yeah.
Would you agree that is not a good wife?
She wouldn't make a good wife.
A woman that indulges in or engages in hot girl summer, who probably have a high body count, who prioritizes her career, so on. But I'm not going to go there. I'm going to use the examples that you gave, and doesn't let the father see his child. Would you agree that is not a good? I mean, I was going to say woman, but yeah, if you want to say wife, yeah. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, she wouldn't make a good wife. Yeah.
Yes. I absolutely agree with you, Jake. She wouldn't make a good wife. And this is why the problem is inherently moral. Because men are not morally choosing these women properly. That is the issue. That is the problem. You said, no, you're not out here advocating for, you've contradicted yourself, Jake. You said you're not out here advocating for men to get married. Okay, you said no. What you said that men should not get men. You say men should not get married. But at the same time, you say, this is.
I can repeat what I said if you want.
Go ahead, because I'm confused at this point because you're contradicting yourself.
No, I'm not.
You are not for men to get married.
The what?
You are not for men to get married because there are too many risks. But yet you are aware of what men must do in order to mitigate those risks. So are you pro-marriage or not?
I'm pro the institution, and I'm pro changing the laws to help men and to help men want to get married and women want to get married. And I can give you several examples how to change the laws in order to get people more into marriage and stay together.
And the solutions that you gave were inherently moral.
Or inherent what the changing of the laws of how to change the laws? They're moral.
No. Just remember, you gave several solutions, Jake.
That's to mitigate it. That's to mitigate it as much as possible. But the laws are going to mitigate it even more.
Okay, Jake. So
a bigger solution is to reform laws. That's going to be a bigger impact than what I just said earlier.
What I want to know from you is, you obviously agree that institutional marriage is needed. Okay, but right now, due to you seem to keep bringing up the laws. Due to the laws, all right. Mm-hmm. Due to the laws, you think by changing the laws is what's going to get men to run to the and get married to women. You think that's what's going to do it? All right, you gave one law, the custody one that we went over, and
yeah, one component out of so many.
I didn't make it when we actually break it down to. It doesn't actually make much sense. What other law do you actually have that you think? So what law is there that needs to be changed, Jake, so that men can get married again?
Okay, so
Jake, sorry, Jake, before you respond, I think Octavio has repeated this point more than once now. His point, just to summarize, is being very simple. You point out the laws and avoiding women of loose moral character is a good option, but the laws being priority. And he's made the point that the other 50% of people who are successfully married are also at risk. So clearly it may not be the laws, because the other 50% are under the law as well, but it seems like they're making the right choices rather than worrying about the law. I just want to remind you guys of the point that Octavio made. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. So you have people that 50% of them are married, but also you have to realize that less people are getting married. So again, less and less people are getting married. I'm saying if you want to encourage, if you want to encourage people to get married and stay married, it's very simple. Okay. One way to get more income for men and more men into the workplace is to close out borders. One. Okay. Make sure that anybody that is not a citizen is working, because that lowers wages. That's one. Two, if you want to take out 37% of the workforce here in the United States, which I believe, which is women, take them out, because men can do those jobs easily. You don't need women to do really any of those jobs, to be honest, that a man can do. So with that being said, you're going to take out a lot of the workforce by taking out illegal immigrants and taking the women out. Thus, that's going to raise wages on a lot of these jobs. Okay. And if it raises wages, that means men, as a byproduct of that, will have more opportunity to make money and to support families. Okay. This is how they did it back then. Back in the day, you only need one man to raise the household. You didn't need the women working until the sex revolution came about. Right. So again, if you're talking about laws, there's some simple ones there. Okay. And another simple law to do that as well is to incentivize marriages. A lot of these people get married and they get like tax breaks, and that's really about it. Okay. There's no real incentive from the government for people to get married and stay married. There's no real incentive from the government for kids, for marriages to have a bunch of children either. Okay. But again, we need to follow up a lot of these laws in order to lead up to that. You can't just throw it all in one gulp and expect society to flourish. There's a lot to that. Okay. But it starts with the marriage. Yes, for sure. To mitigate divorce. If we all did that, I would say, guys, get married. It's very rare when people get divorced. Cool. I'm fine with that. That's not the case. Divorce is not rare. Divorce is not rare. It is common. Okay. Broken households are common.
Okay.
That's my problem.
Okay. Feminism will stay here for a while. It ain't
going anywhere.
Women are not going to leave the workforce tomorrow, or even in the next I would say 60, 70 years. They're not going to do that. Knowing that no society can survive without marriage institution. Okay. And knowing the fact that even though things are this bad now, as far as feminism goes, we still have 50% of men and women that are married. Okay. And we know that there's been that, people have been, people before were married for a long time till the end of their lives. What is it that we can, how can you turn around and say and advocate for men not to get married?
Yeah, I'm not turning around and saying to advocate for it. I'm saying it's a bad bet. But if you're gonna do it, here are the things that you can do to mitigate it. And there's things that you can do. I'll even say this: you can get married in the church, but don't get married under the state. The state will fuck you up. The church won't. Get married under God, and just that. I am for marriage. Go ahead and get married under the church, not the state. And you'll be so much happier that way.
Jake,
there's other options there to get around from it.
Jake, the reason why that argument doesn't necessarily follow or doesn't make much sense is because most of the Western world have I think England has now reached 55% are now atheist, and most of them are cultural Christians, which means they don't really follow. Most people are not getting married in churches, so getting married not involving the state becomes almost impossible. When you tell a whole bunch of atheists to not get married in a state, they're going to look at you crazy because they think, hey, did you forget that we are not religious? What you're basically saying is don't get married at all. That's how they're going to interpret that.
That's okay, then that's the thing, dude. If they don't want to get married at all, then don't get married at all. That's their choice. They're atheists. Why are you getting married in the first place? Okay,
I agree.
You're an atheist. You can get.
I agree. But because, Sergey, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
I'm just giving you options for everybody. Okay, you want to talk about atheists? I can give them options. I can give religious people options too. Speaking to religious people, get married under your church. You can do that. Don't get married under the state. You'll be happier. If you're atheist, you want to get married. Hey, get married under the state. Because don't get married under the church. Get married under the state. But guess what? There's ways to mitigate that shit by making money, low body count, etc. So there's another option for you. Just know what you're getting into.
So how would the law
I'm shooting out options.
In case of a divorce, let's say someone doesn't get married gets married without the state, okay, which I think is impossible in the West. Personally, you have to involve the state in pretty much everything. Let's say, but that somehow they managed to do it. All right, okay. How would, in case of a divorce, in case of the relationship breaking down, how would they enforce the law to make sure that the other person pays anything? How would that happen without the state?
You're talking about without the state?
Because without the state, you can't enforce any laws. If I get married without the state, and my relationship breaks down, or go through a divorce, I can't go up there and beat them up for my money.
Definitely,
I can't go up there and do any of that. I have to go back to the law, and then the law will turn around and say, "Hey, you got a religious marriage, mate. Go. You know what I mean? That's your fault."
So you're saying, oh well, you need the state in order to enforce things. Who's going to pay this and that? Well, the divorce laws already suck. So as a man, if you're saying, well, who's going to pay? The state's going to make your ass pay, and you're basically going to get fucked over. So in this case, that means that it's your responsibility as a man and the woman and the family to negotiate said desires. Okay. You leave it to the family. In this case, in modern day society, okay, you leave it to the family, because if you leave it to the state's going to they're going to fuck you really hard in your ass. Okay. As a man, especially statistics that are already showed in there. So me as a man, if I'm an atheist guy or a religious person, whatever the case is, whatever you are, I would rather leave that fate up to me and the people that I know and I love, and her family and my family, people that I trust. I'd rather leave it up to us than the state, because the state will fuck me over. That's for damn sure. So I don't trust them. I'd rather leave it up to people that I trust, in myself, my father, my mother, her father, her mother, and the woman that I love, that we love each other. That's what you leave it up to. It's your responsibility in that case.
Can you just repeat how you would get the state to in case of a divorce? Let's say you get married without the state. How would you get exactly the state to enforce the laws? Alex said that the church will enforce it. No, that's incorrect. The church can't enforce anything. The church can't go up there and force anyone to pay anything. That's literally,
they can't do that.
But
you can make contracts easy. You can make lawyer contracts. It's your responsibility. There's definitely options there. Contracts.
Yeah, you make contracts, right?
You can make contracts. Yeah, that benefit both and don't fuck over anybody. Yeah.
Okay. You make contracts, and isn't that the same as involving the state, Jake?
No, because the state actually has like actual laws that go against men. Again, I already told you, it disproportionately destroys men. Even the men that commits that off themselves, a lot of the men that off themselves do it because the woman took the kids and took a lot of their finances away. A lot of these men actually off themselves because of that. So again, if I'm going to leave it up to the state, I'd rather leave it up to myself. I'd rather do it myself with people that I love and trust, rather than giving it to the state who doesn't give a fuck about me. That's the difference there.
You'd agree that
I answered your question.
No. I know you answered my question, but you agree that divorce can be brutal, right?
It could be brutal, yeah, definitely.
Hold on. The intentions that we come with are not necessarily the ones we hold once we go through divorce. You do agree with that, right?
Say that again.
the intentions that we come with, or let's say the intentions that we had when we formed the contract, is not necessarily going to reflect the intentions that we're going to have once the relationship breaks down and the divorce ends and the
Yeah,
divorce begins.
I can
Yeah,
understand that.
you do agree with that, right? And
Intentions change.
people are not going to sit down lying down. And to me, I'm not seeing that much of that's not a solution to me. And in the Western world, where most people are becoming atheists, I don't see that as a solution at all.
Yeah, again, I can tell you this. I don't think it's the perfect solution. I think I've named better solutions by, again, I have to repeat myself, changing the laws to help better marriages. Yeah, that's my solution. That's a better solution than going out there and making a contract with a woman and her family. I get you there, but I'm answering your question. What is your answer, your solution to somebody that just doesn't want to get it involved, etc.? I just gave you a solution. I think that's the better bet than leaving it to the state. That's my solution there. I think overall as a society, laws need to be reformed. I mean, it's very simple.
Okay. Okay. Now,
but we can do last thoughts already. We got 5 minutes.
Not yet, because we got 4 minutes left. Last thoughts, and we'll finish the debate.
Okay. I want to give you the last word, Octavio.
Yeah, no worries.
So I'll just do a quick last thoughts real quick. It's going to take like a minute. All right. But overall, guys, I know everybody's that's watching the chat. They're going to jump in after this. Overall, I am not against the institution of marriage. I am against how man is running marriage. Okay. Men are very flawed of how they do it. The reason why for that is because there's a lot of men that are mama's boys. They're beta males, and they tend to, instead of treating the woman equal in this feminist world, they'll say we're going to treat them equal, but under the law they're not. And that's what fucks up a lot of these men. Men don't give a fuck about men. They put the woman on a pedestal, and this is why we have so much men out there getting hurt when it comes to marriages. Okay, again, I'm not against the institution, but I am saying guard yourself, gentlemen. Guard yourself, know what you're getting into, and mitigate it as best as possible. I'm not your leader. I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm telling you that's the best choice. Go ahead, Octavio.
Okay. The marriage institution is paramount to the survival of societies and countries and nations, to the building of communities, societies, and nations. So marriage is not something that we can afford to avoid. Or something that we can put off, or something that we can neglect, or something that we can not look forward to. All right, marriage is absolutely necessary and important if we want to continue as a society. All right, given that is a fact, that is an undeniable fact, and given the fact that even today with feminism, as much as feminism is working towards destroying the institution of marriage, I don't know if you guys know, but the idea of no fault divorce, that's a feminist agenda that has come to pass. All right, they've been fighting for no fault divorce for a very long time, and now they have it. All right, even with the feminist agenda and how prevalent feminism is in society in the West today, we can see that still we have 50% of people that are not necessarily religious. Of course, most that do get married is religious, are religious, but we can still see that people are married, 50%. All right, so they must be doing something right. So I think that the problem is inherently moral. The problem is not because of the laws, because these 50% obviously don't have a problem with the laws. They are, and they are doing their duty in terms of contributing to the survival of society. So they are not being selfish. All right. So I think the problem is inherently moral. I think men are too sexualized. Men are engaging in hookup culture from a very early age, and that's the reason why they are choosing the wrong women. That's the reason why they are choosing to marry women that are not good for marriage. All right, so men need to get out of the hookup culture if they want to know what a good woman is or isn't, so that they don't fall for a bad woman. They need to get out of the hookup culture and make better choices. It's only when men start making better moral choices that we are going to see things change. Even feminism can't kill that, because all men have to do, and Jake has conceded that there is ways of you guys mitigating risk. There is ways of you guys mitigating risk, and you guys really need to take that seriously. Stop marrying women. Stop marrying women with high body counts. Stop doing that, guys. All right, that won't help you in the future. So yeah, so that is basically don't marry women that want to pursue careers. Don't marry women that don't marry feminists, guys. If you keep marrying feminists, don't complain. All right, we need to take some accountability. We need to take some accountability. We need to take some responsibility for our bad actions. All right, and yes, this is it.
That was great, guys. Great match. Well, the hour's done. We're going to be opening up the calls. Did really well. I took notes, and you guys were really
64 notes.
Yeah, a lot of notes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That was a lot of
welcome,
notes
guys.
on the beatdown I just gave Octavio.
You're welcome.
You wish.
You're welcome, guys. Because you guys are making excellent points, and you're both sincere to your points of view. Jake is sincere to the Red Bull perspective, or whatever the perspective you may say. Octavio is very sincere. Yeah, Jake's own perspective, and Octavio is very sincere to his one as well. So you guys did really well. There's no you both argued in good faith, to be honest with you.
Hassan, but I won the argument though. I won the debate.
Yeah, right.
I think you both won, to be honest.
No,
with you.
Hassan, don't be nice to Octavio because you're thinking he might beat you up afterwards. Just tell him the truth, bro. He got destroyed. He couldn't make a point. I answered every single question perfectly. He couldn't answer any of mine.
Well, based on the fact that you assume he can beat me up, I'm gonna say.
Oh, you know what? You're right. If he tries, you're gonna beat him up, Hassan. You are.
I'm gonna put the link in the chat, guys. That was definitely a great debate. I can't wait to watch it back, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.